we can get started, guys. So those of you who are joining in for the very first time, just wanted to welcome you guys. So just as you know, we usually have this kind of webinar every month. We generally try to keep it the end of the month, but I think I mean, this month was exception. Like we were not available. We were at Intuit Connect, so we couldn't make it. So that's why we just decided to have it in the first week. Now, in this webinar, we generally touch base on all the new things that we have rolled out in a particular month. And this is the best place. So in case if you guys have any questions on any new features or any wish list or any like literally any questions on any of the features, you guys can also ask as well. Now we are recording this webinar. So those of you who were not able to make it today will be also sharing this recording with you, all of you guys. All right. So I'm going to share my screen and then I'm going to walk you through all the new stuff that we have rolled out in the month of October. All right. So I'm going to share my screen. So major changes has been related to about the 1099 because as you guys know that the season is around the corner and we just wanted to make sure that we take care of all the different suggestions or feedback that you guys have given to us so that by the time the seasons arrived the feature is ready to be used. All right, so the first change that we introduced with 1099 was about the address. So see, right now what happens is that whenever you update any of the address, it by default syncs with your QuickBooks Online. However, we got a request from some of you where you didn't want to sync this address with the QuickBooks address. And the use case for that was that I think it was this is what I was told, where I think there were at times, especially with there was a location where all the different contractors would come. They would come there for work. So what they wanted to do was that rather than delivering rather than just kind of delivering those 1099 forms to those 50, 60 individual addresses, they would just want to deliver it to the one place and then they would just literally hand over to the respective person. Now in this case, the address that they wanted to keep was the facility address, and they really didn't want this address to be synced in your QuickBooks because I mean, if like otherwise, all those 60 people would kind of show the same address. So all we did was you now have an option in case if you wanted to use any of the address that you do not want to sync with QuickBooks, you just click on this checkbox. What this will do is that whatever address that you update here will only stay in Xenett. It will not sync with the QuickBooks file, right? So again, this was one of the requirement that we received, and based on that, we just made this feature available. So that was one thing. All right. Second thing is by default, previously we were always pulling the data for the whole year. But again, this was one more suggestion that we got where you guys sometimes want to look at the data for a specific date range, like let's just say every quarter or every quarter, right? So like you only want to look at the data from January to March. Let's just say the next quarter you wanted to then look at the data for January to June, and so on and so forth. So now you guys have this option available where you decide the month and then accordingly the data will show up. Okay, and it does not have to be like a January to June always. Like you could just literally select, hey, only show me the data for April to June. So again, this was a special request where a lot of you guys review 1099 on monthly basis, quarterly basis, and if you only wanted to filter the data using this date range, you can do that. All right. So that's something that we have enabled. Okay. Now, the other thing that we introduced was actually, let me just the other feature that we introduced is a status at the year level, right? So we do have a status at the vendor level, like a status here, but then like let's just say you have 50, 60 clients, and like you still wanted to have a one view where you wanted to find out where things are with every single client. So for example, review 1099 for this client, what is the status for this year? You could, and these you can customize this status as well. So when you click on manage status, you could say, hey, like what are the different statuses that you would want to use. So you can actually then use all the different statuses here, and then you can assign the specific status here, right? So you could say, hey, for this client for 2023, I'm kind of done with 1099. For next client for 2023, my client status is waiting on client. So you can actually customize this status, and then you can keep it whatever you like. Now, whatever you select, and this is going to be the next feature that we introduce, is like on your firm level, we introduce this under reports, we introduce this one view, a 1099 overview, right? Now, what this does is that it brings all the clients from your firm, and then we'll show like each and every client, and you would be able to track where things are, like whether it's a not started, it's a waiting on client. So you then do not need to log in to every single client and then to find where things are. Instead, you can just simply come here, go to 1099 overview, and you can then find all of your clients under one page. And this is a very high level summary that you can get. You can quickly filter it by year, that hey, for 2023, this is the status for all my clients. In this case, I only have one client here, but imagine if you have 50, 60, 100 clients, then all of those clients will show up here. Now, along with the status, we also show you some more information. And this is like this were the total eligible vendors. Out of the vendors, you still have 10 of them missing the information, right? And the rest of this are actually the vendor status column. So you could find out that, hey, out of this many vendors, you still like you have 5 of them ready for filing, you have 10 of them waiting on clients. So it's like a very high level overview that will help you so that you do not then need to go to every single client to uh, find this information. All right. So again, this was something that a request from you guys. So that overview report is also available. All right. That was that. Let me just look at my list here real quick. Okay. And then I think again, it was a small thing where, all right. So again, with the small thing that we did was that with the, so what you could do, what you can now do, see by default, we actually auto populate this question. I mean, you don't even have to. So let's just say whenever you're requesting W9 from your client, we automatically populate this question for you, right? But we got a request that you guys wanted to actually change the default questions to show up something else. Now, to do that, we introduced this feature where you can actually type in your question here. And here, what you could just do is like add vendor. So what it would do is that, so this is going to be the template, the template of the question that you're creating. Now, all you do, like whenever you're ready to use that, just simply click here. So by using that add red vendor, what it will do, it will actually filter, it will actually pull up the actual vendor name from this list, right? Previously, whenever you had to type in the custom question, you still like you had to type in the vendor name manually, like NML insurance in this particular case, right? So let's just say, in fact, let me just take example of this one. So let's just say in case if you wanted to write a custom question, you had to type in the vendor name separately, but instead what you could do, whenever you create a template, like a snippet here, all you have to do, like let's just say, please, for example, you could say, hey, vendor, please send me the W9 or something like that, right? Now, in this case, what would happen is that since we introduced this merge tag, it's going to actually replace it with the actual vendor name. So you don't have to type in the vendor name manually. Again, this was a very specific request that we received. So again, that's made available. All right. So that was that. So it looks like I think mainly so far we have been closely tracking all the different requests with 1099. I think we are almost done with that. So I think the rest of November and December, uh, I do not expect, like, we do not have as such any backlog with 1099. But side by side, we have also been working on a lot of other things, which I'm also going to touch base real quick. But before that, I also wanted to quickly touch base on one of the other improvement that we did. So if I go to close, and then let's just say if I click here with GL consistency review. So what happens here is that previously, like there was an option here for last 4 months or 5 months or something like that, right? But then, so what it would do, like every time you come here, it will always show you the last 5 months or last 4 months. However, many of you have always been looking at things on a like a year to date, like you literally wanted to see all the months of the year. So for that, we, because if you keep doing that, like let's just say if I'm standing in let's just say April, and if I select last 3 months, for April it's fine. But the moment if I go to the next close, it is still gonna pick up the last 3 months, which would mean that I'm gonna lose. It's not gonna show me the January month, right? Because it's always gonna pick the last 3 months. So what we did, we introduced this feature where you can just call it like a YTD months. So let's just say if you are reviewing May, it's gonna show you January, February, and all the months to May. If you then move to June, again it's gonna show you the months from January. So it's like as you start moving with your close process, it's always going to show you all the columns start from the year. So again, this was a specific request that we received, and that's also possible now. All right. So that's that. And the same is also available. So just like we have GL consistency review, we also have a class consistency review. So just in case if you guys also use that, it's the same thing. We also made it available here as well. All right, so that's that. All right, so that these were the main major features that we rolled out in the month of October. But side by side, just as you guys know, we have been working on rolling out our reporting module. We are very much closer to that. The plan is to roll out the module. I mean, this reporting module somewhere in the like November, maybe like by end of November. So again, just to give you a glimpse, what's going to happen is that you guys would then be able to create and design your own financials package right inside Xenett. So that once you design that, what's going to happen, you can have a cover page. You can basically build your own package, and it can have different reports, it can have different graphs, right? So you kind of build it however you like, and there will be a lot of customization where you can let me actually show you real quick. So let's just say there's a cover page here. You can use different colors, cover page image, and all of those customization. And then let's just say if you add a profit and loss, or if you move to any of, like if you add, let's just say new report called profit and loss, you have a blank canvas where you can then start adding any sort of reports, any sort of tags. Even there's going to be the graphs as well. So you can basically build your own custom financials reports, and then you should be able to then publish it with the client, which will then show up on client portal, right? So that way, and you can also schedule it from your end as well. So that way you could say, hey, every 20 of the month, I want my financials to go out to my client. So those things that you'll be able to do it. Now your client would also be able to use or access those financial statements from the portal as well. So in case, in fact, what they'll also be able to do, they'll also be, it's not going to be just like a PDF version that's going to be available. It's more like an interactive report as well. So if they have any, if they need any details, they can always even, let's just say if they're looking at profit and loss, and if they need more details, they can even drill down, they can look at the transactions, they can ask questions. So it also makes it super easy for you guys to avoid any email exchanges. You can literally do all the communication while you are in Xenett, right? So yeah, it's gonna be the phase one that we will be releasing in November, and I'm pretty sure as we roll this out, it's only gonna get better once you guys start providing the feedback. But yes, again, this is going to be the major release that will be rolling out this month. So that was one thing. And the another thing that we'll be kind of working on is doing some sort of trend analysis on the reports level. So we are introducing some sort of flags analysis. So while you are in balance sheet or profit and loss, it can actually start flagging things for you. In fact, you can also define your own expectations and then it will show you. So for example, you could tell Xenett that, hey, if my rent is not consistent, give me a flag. Or you could say, hey, if my merchant fees is not or is more than 3% of my total revenue, highlight it, right? So imagine if you have tens of such expectation that you check every month, you don't have to check all of those things one by one. The moment you enter here inside Xenett, it will automatically flag it for you so that you can just start paying attention to what those flags are and what you need to do to resolve them. So again, this is going to be the very big one as well, because then your profit and loss and balance sheet analysis will be very, very quick. Because right now, if you look at it, Xenett is primarily been focusing on like the bookkeeping level fixes quite majorly. But then with this trend analysis, you could like you do not even have to spend time manually reviewing profit and loss and balance sheet. All of those things that you're checking on month to month basis, you can literally set up your expectation and it will flag it. You only have to pay attention to those flags. So again, that's also the another big release that we anticipate in this month itself. Right. All right. Let me just quickly pull up the chat. Just want to see if there are any questions as such. I would just address that. Okay, Carrie. So does the show previous month's drop-down menu go by calendar year or fiscal year? I'll have to confirm actually. Let me confirm it. I just don't want to assume anything. So I'll kind of come back on that. I kind of noted your question. So I'll take care of that. Are the ability to create dependency on runway? It would be awesome to create a close. Oh yes, Angel. I mean that's certainly coming for sure. We are, in fact, there are a lot more exciting stuff that we are already in that are already in the talks. Maybe I should speak more in about 2 or 3 weeks from now because we are still finalizing a lot of things. But yes, this is certainly one of the feature that is already gonna be taken care. In fact, there is audit trail report. Many of you requested that, hey, we really wanted to have some sort of report from Xenett that tells what are the changes that have been made as well. That's also in process. So yes, I mean, there's so much to talk, maybe in next few weeks. So, right. So that's that. Let me just quickly check the Q&A real quick. Can transactions be excluded from vendors? Yes, Wendy. I assume that you were referring to, I guess, in terms of 1099. Yes, you'll be able to, if that's what you were referring, yes, you'll be able to exclude the specific transactions from the vendor. So the good use case for that is that, let's just say if you paid a vendor for a specific expense, but then you also paid for the reimbursement. Now you do not want to include those reimbursement transactions or reimbursement payments for the purpose of 1099, and you can actually exclude those specific transactions as well. And we are also, I'm pretty sure you guys would have received an invite or some sort of email from us, but we are actually organizing a webinar, I think in about 10 days from now. Let's majorly focus on like smoothen your year-end close process, wherein we're going to talk about a lot of best practices that we recommend as a part of the year-end close. So again, if you guys have not registered, I would just welcome you to join that webinar. You can also ask your people to join that because that is specifically to address a lot of challenges that we face as a part of the year-end close. So, all right, that's pretty much it from my end. I'll still wait for a minute just to see if there are any more questions. If not, I'll kind of ask you for leave. And yeah, so let me just quickly see. Dinesh, Xenett track 1099 for interest. I think yes, it does that as well. Yes, maybe we can talk separately about that. Yep. On the close where you are checking for consistency, do the notes flow from month to month? Okay, no. So the notes do not flow month to month actually, but there are some workaround for that, Wendy. Like if it is more like a question, okay, there is some sort of comment here. Let me just see. Yeah, comments does not actually flow month to month right now. All right, looks like we are good to go. But just in case, if you guys still have any more questions for us, either you can reach out to us through a chat, like in-app chat. Be great if they did in case of. Yep, got it, Wendy. Point noted. Yeah. So in case if you guys still have any more questions, feel free to reach out to our support chat, or you can send out us email at help@xenett.com, or you also have my email address, so feel free to reach out as well. All right, guys, that's pretty much it for the today's updates. I hope you liked it. And yeah, as I was just speaking, a lot more exciting stuff are on horizon, and we'll be super excited to share with you very soon. All right, thank you guys and take care.